On Wednesday, September 20th, they're hanging out for dear life here at the CNET Studios in New York. It's episode 287. Somehow, I'm BVG. Thanks for joining us. In the house today, we've got Ben Fox, Rubin, Roger Cheng, and Scotty Stein.
Scotty Stein.
Hey, good to be here.
Thanks for coming,
our very,
man.
very special
Thank
guest
you.
who brought some toys.
I got lots of toys. I've got the iPhone 8 Plus.
Wait, that's not the 8 Plus.
No, which one is
Come
it?
on.
Do you
Which one
know?
is it?
We
You don't
don't
even know.
even know.
Yes.
You can't even tell.
It's the 7 Plus. This is the 8.
No, it's
That's
not.
the
it's
8.
That's
the 6.
Keep
That's
going.
the 6.
my
These are the 8.
There we go.
And the 8 Plus.
Glossy back. The beautiful glossy back.
The
So-
glossy back is black. The glossy back
is
back.
back? Yeah.
Glossy.
The
Okay.
Yeah.
glossy back is back.
We're
That
off.
actually is a
We're off
sentence.
to a riveting start here.
The black glossy back is back.
We haven't even gotten to the main podcast
Yeah.
yet, but I'm going to
Woo.
attempt to make that
I
happen.
can't even hear myself in these. Should that be normal?
So
I
we're
can
gonna.
hear you.
So
Okay.
we're gonna interview Scott about his experience with all these new Apple gadgets. We're gonna be
Yeah.
talking about the Apple Watch AR kit, and then also we
well-
want to take as many questions as possible.
Yeah,
about
we're
the
not
iPhone
going to
too.
talk about the iPhone too much on the podcast itself, but if you have any questions, obviously Scott's here.
Yeah, we definitely
to
talk
answer
about it.
We can
It
talk-
is, you know, you can read the review, updated processor. Not a huge amount of. Well, we'll get into.
We'll
that.
get into it. All right. So, as always, if you have any questions about any of these products, mostly for Scott, leave them in the comment section. Brian will pick out the best, and we will get to them in 3 minutes and 59 seconds.
Here we go in 3,
Yep.
2.
Welcome to the 359. I'm Roger Cheng,
I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
and with us is super special guest Scott Stein.
Hi. Woo,
I was
good
going to
be
say
here.
super special guest, iPhone 8 and Apple Watch, but it's actually Scott Stein.
I know. I'm just here as their guest.
Yeah. You're their
I'm
chaperone.
coming along. Yeah.
As you can guess from the introduction, Scott's here to talk about basically all Apple products. The Apple Watch review is out. I mean, if you've seen the Spectrum reviews, they've been mostly negative, pretty critical. But Scott, what did you think about it?
Hey Siri, what did I think about the Apple Watch? Oh, never mind. It can actually.
Apple.com should be able to.
Never mind. It talks on your wrist. So Apple Watch is a lot like the previous one. It looks similar. You know, if you're not using the LTE, it's actually improved with the software.
Okay.
And with some of the fitness features. I think it's the best smartwatch. However, the LTE brings a lot of compromises to the table. I mean, it works.
That's the whole reason to buy the thing.
Yeah, that's the big selling point for Series 3, right?
That is, well, yeah, except they sell one without the LTE too.
Right.
Save $70. So, and then you could even buy one of last year's models. So they're very similar across the
Oh,
board.
no, you can't buy last year's model.
You
Well,
could buy the
maybe you
Series
could
1.
somewhere.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
But
Yeah.
not through Apple.
But
Not
anyway,
through
you were
Apple.
saying compromises. What are those?
Compromises. Well, there have been attempts at these watch phones before. I've worn them. Samsung Gear S2 and 3 and Android Wear. They're usually pretty buggy and weird and big. I like the fact this one's smaller. I found that for voice calls and for email, that instantly hooked in and felt nice.
Nice.
And music, this is not an LTE thing right now yet, but the music syncing from your phone is more like an iPod. So
But it will stream later this year.
it
right?
will stream. We haven't even tested that yet, but
Right.
it'll stream later this year, like in a month. So I thought that all created a pretty seamless feel. However, it chews up battery life. And, you know, it is rated as an hour for LTE calls. So that's
Yeah,
basically...
That's not a lot.
That's how
No.
long I call you, Roger. I mean, like,
know.
that doesn't give us a lot of time.
Hour-long evening conversations.
Yeah,
just
what?
That's-
would not
why?
exist.
It's more like a break in case of emergency. I should have said that. Like, you know, like
Oh.
basically
Yeah.
it's a mini phone that will expire and you go home. Plus, here's the other frustrating thing. It's not a standalone phone at all. You need to buy an iPhone.
Yeah.
And you need to sync it with that. It's designed for that. So you can't think of this as like the smallest, most affordable, whatever, you know, phone.
Right.
Which is not even the most affordable. But
That is the iPhone SE. If we're just talking about
that's the
Apple
SE.
phones.
So there are a lot of limitations. Now, other people had talked about connection problems as well. I didn't have those when I was using it, but I did have notification weirdness where iMessages wouldn't always pop in. Maybe that might be early software at this point, which sometimes before you go to iOS 11 across the board that might happen. Then also notifications are weird.
Right.
But you need to have your phone on right now somewhere to get third-party
Ugh.
notifications.
Oh, really?
Yes. So
I
like,
don't like
Oh,
that.
weird.
yeah, and I don't know if that's going to change.
So, I wanted to switch gears
So
really
it's not
quickly.
entirely what you think. Yeah.
You also spent some time with some of the new AR apps
Yep.
that exist. Tell us about that. I saw some of your tweets about this. It looked really fun. It looked pretty exciting about like this is what the future might be with like, you know, beyond the world of Pokemon Go.
Yeah, this became really popular on Twitter. And, I've been seeing demos of this going back to WWDC, and I'd been cautiously excited about it and thinking this would be a big deal. A lot of people go, what is this for? And when I saw IKEA a while ago and then again here, it's the practical part of this. It's kind of amazing. Like, there's one thing about dancing robots, but this IKEA Place app, you can lay down furniture from the catalog. I was going to CNBC and I just did it on the Subway platform.
Right.
I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start recording this because iOS 11 has screen capture, so it's pretty easy to do.
Oh, nice.
And you can trim it and then update it. So that was all just a real demo. Some people didn't believe that. One thing is that people pass in front of that AR, it totally breaks the illusion.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I put up another tweet about that. But the tracking it does, while it doesn't always work, it generally works so well that it's astounding, considering you didn't have to buy a new phone necessarily to do it.
And you're not using a Tango phone that has like the 2 cameras.
And
Right.
you're using a
clunky.
Tango phone. And
Yeah.
then if you start doing, there are a ton of measurement apps and home decorating things that are already sprouting up. That's the area where I think it could be really interesting. Games are gimmicky, but
Yeah.
it's the beginning of something that feels kind of astounding. And I was amazed at how many comments came through so positive. To some degree, I put it up because it's absurd, but everyone was also really amazed by it. And a lot of people
Because it was just effective. It looked
effective.
really, really good. I mean,
Yeah. And that's the cool thing too, is it's shareable. That's the big thing with VR and versus AR, is that I'm wearing a helmet. I can't really explain what it really felt like in an amazing VR experience.
Right.
But here, it's exactly what I'm experiencing, and actually maybe in some ways better, because you could craft. Some people are starting to use this to create special effects. You can start crafting different realities on your phone.
Better
And
reality.
Better
brought to you by
reality.
Apple.
I'm mocking up your future for
All
you.
right. Unfortunately, I got to cut it short because that's all the time we have.
Yeah.
But I wanted to post a special note. We're going to be off tomorrow, but we did tape a special episode that will run. It won't be live. We won't be taking questions, but it'll run tomorrow, usual time. And and we also want to throw it out there. We're considering doing a bit of a format change, changing things up a little to include not just the 4-minute podcast on the audio, but also the Q&A that also comes for our YouTube viewers. Basically, keeping it in line with how our YouTube fans watch the show. Give us a shout out just to if this is a good idea, terrible idea, if you're going to hate this, if you're going to love it, let us know. You can tweet back at us at the 359 podcast or at the 359 at cnet.com. Brian, did I get that right?
Yep.
Let us know. All right, that's it. Let's close it up. Again, for all these stories and more, check us out on CNET. I'm Roger Cheng.
I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
I'm Scott Stein.
Thanks for listening.
I love that little ending jingle.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's nice.
So
Call
relaxing.
ended.
I'm like ready to go home.
Pretty much, yeah.
afterward.
Enjoy your stay.
Can we just
in
observe
Stockholm.
that this is easily the closest we've ever actually done the show to 3:59 in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time?
How
Granted,
long is
we were
that?
still late.
Yeah, you're right.
We were still late.
Hopefully, we still have Jesse Gateman on. I saw Michael Braun was showing up, but Jesse, hopefully you stuck with us.
I
Sorry, we
know.
had some technical
Loved your
difficulties.
Cookie Monster GIF, though. My
Yeah.
kid would have totally appreciated that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Thanks to everybody sticking around and putting
Yeah.
up with this late in the day. We do have a couple of good questions to start off with. Speaking of Jesse Gateman, it says, Scott, any audio delay when using the AirPods and the watch for calls? Did you try any voice over internet protocol services like Skype on the watch?
Oh, interesting.
So I didn't do Skype on the watch, and I'm not even sure that there's no way to do Skype on the watch right now. So this is purely phone calls. I mean, I didn't do anything else. Would be I don't think there's anything set up over LTE. You could hand it off from your phone, but that would just be a Bluetooth connection to your phone.
And there are some limits to the number of apps and what can actually take advantage of this connectivity. Because I think right now the perception is this is essentially a phone on your wrist, and that's not really the case. It's pretty limited, right?
Wait a minute. So you wouldn't be able to do like Spotify streaming while
No,
going
there's
on a
there's no
run?
Twitter,
no,
right?
no. Well,
There's
there's no. Read the review, or I think it was in the review. But yeah, to make it.
We read the review.
don't
We're
make
just
us
trying
read
to tell
things.
our viewers
It's
who may
long.
not read the review.
Okay, no, I won't be like that. But I will say that the core apps work right now. A lot of third-party apps don't work over LTE, so that's frustrating. It was kind of like what happened in the early days of the standalone apps on watchOS. Now, I think it's up to those apps to be able to eventually run an LTE, and I think they might start doing that because this is before watchOS 4 launched. But we're going to have to see. I don't know if it's going to be in the interest of all of them to do it. I don't know how many will, and that may not mean that they get notifications. So
There are
you
also
may
a
not
lot
get
of
Twitter
players.
notifications, even if there's a Twitter app.
A lot of players also sunset their Apple Watch apps. Like the one that I'm thinking
Yeah.
off the top of my head is eBay, because I cover eBay, but there are a handful of other ones that were like, this ecosystem really isn't that worth it for us. So integrating into LTE, that might be an impetus to get more people to drop
The
it.
idea is if you got a notification on your eBay app on your phone, you would get that notification on your watch, right? Because they're synced together.
Probably.
It just
and that
it wouldn't-
depends
it
on
just
whether your
wouldn't
phone
work.
is on.
Yes, which is a weird.
It's
That's
so
a weird thing.
No,
Yeah.
it's so weird. And I
Yeah.
was trying to wrap my head around that. That's a sort of thing that we're still going to keep looking at, because we looked at this for about a week, which actually for a wearable is not that much time. It
Right.
sounds crazy to say, but you want to keep seeing how things settle in and how things change. But the point is that a lot of that stuff feels experimental. It's really more about taking phone calls, which is something you don't even do much on your phone anymore. Like that's that's like not the key feature of a smartphone.
I know millennials killed that.
Yeah. So now like
Where's
Alfred killed that.
Right.
and responding to things on your watch, you have to like always scribble or dictate, which means that like I got a work email and I tried responding to it. I tried responding to Falcone, John Falcone here at CNET, and it came off like a Twin Peaks message. It was like I'm here at the lodge, the phone. I am, or something like that. It was like weird. The lodge came in, and I was like, "What does that mean?" And you can't edit it, so
What?
well, now if you're dictating, no,
Oh,
it's
I guess
that's true. Yeah.
it's all
Do
meant
you
to
like
be. But don't dictate a long message on a watch. Just go, be there soon. Or
Is it
Yeah.
also, I know we should get to more questions, but also, is it helpful or useful to have Siri on the watch? Did you spend much time with
Ooh,
that?
good question.
Yeah, it's not bad. Siri is better on a watch, and I found this also with Android Wear. It's more useful because you have such a limited interface. It's more like a mini Echo. So, and now it talks to you, which may sound stupid, but it also means that if you're sitting around somewhere, not in public,
You could have conversations with yourself, or
well, it
with
just means
Siri?
you can get the answer, as
Oh,
opposed
okay.
to before you had to keep staring at the little screen. So now it is like a little mini Siri Echo thing on your wrist. Basic information, like when's the next Jets game, or what's my next appointment, or
What time is it?
what
What's
time-
the weather?
Yeah, it doesn't go. There are limits. A lot of things it says check back.
When
to
you
your phone.
asked when the next Jets game was, did she respond like, "Don't bother"?
to give up.
Just don't.
I actually,
Starts giving you Buffalo Bill schedules.
I really want you to ask.
Scott, tell me the next joke. Tell me
Ask
the
Siri
next
what
joke.
time it is. When I mentioned that, I realized that asking a watch what time it is
It's
is
great.
a really dumb thing to ask it.
It's the best dumb
Yeah.
thing that I say all the time.
All right.
Like when I do a demo video and I'm unconscious, I'll just default to, "Hey Siri, what time is it?" Like that's the thing you would always say to your and
All
watch
right,
my
what-
phone.
Thank you for making me look good.
What other questions do we got?
We got a question from Riggs Med. Does the watch have a separate number? My AT&T order states a separate number for my watch.
So no, there is a number. That's interesting. I don't know if there's an additional option for a second number. The tests so far that we've done, we're going to keep taking a look at what all the situations are, is that it shares the same phone number. So it's number
you just
portability.
pay an extra $10 a month,
Yeah.
and that's the.
Which, by the way, that's actually kind of a big deal because the idea of multiple devices with the same number is relatively new. Like AT&T has
Yeah.
Whisper Sync.
Yep.
T-Mobile has they've got a similar program where they share multiple numbers or the same number across multiple devices, but that's relatively new. Like this Gear S3 cannot have the same number as your phone because
Still? Yeah.
I mean you can through AT&T T-Mobile now, but like through some it's
It's
not
weird.
as it's a
jury-rigged
little clumsy.
it.
Yeah, in the early days they didn't at all, and then
Yeah.
they started adding in. It's really nice to have because it allows you to. It's more like the old days where you'd have multiple landlines in your home.
Right.
I'm grabbing the upstairs phone. So now it's like that idea where you have several phones that are ringing, and that's already the case now. If you're using like on Mac and iOS, like your Mac will ring or your phone will ring on your Wi-Fi, like or iPad. So yeah, it virtualizes more of the phone experience.
It's great
I like
because
that.
when people call me, I really want all my devices going off at the
You'll
same time.
ring everywhere.
Yeah, it's great.
It's great. But you know what? What do you need it for? That's the thing. I kept saying in the review, what do you need a phone on your watch for? And I was hoping that there'd be more of a clear pitch for that, and there wasn't really. It was just
I mean, my clear pitch was if you're changing your kid, if you're holding your kid, and you need to get at your phone, like if you've got two hands with your
That's
kid.
like the Echo
But
pitch.
you don't need LTE for that.
No, I guess you
Your
don't.
watch, your home.
Yeah, you're right.
That's
Phone.
you're changing your kid, and you're in a forest.
Yeah, exactly where you're surfing. You're,
surfing.
you're on a surfboard with your kid, changing him.
You're in a swamp, very far from home.
Okay, more questions.
Where
Go on.
there's cellular service.
More questions, Brian.
All right, more questions. Michael Brown, Scott, in your review,
What's up, Michael Brown?
you say wireless charging is slow and BYO, but in your study, did you get any notion that Apple is working on a Qi charger makers to place them everywhere in stores, i.e. Starbucks, et cetera, et cetera?
It was a very good question. So here's the deal with wireless. Right now it is slow. It feels like a trickle charge. After half an hour, it went up like 15%.
Whoa, that's terrible.
It's bad. Yeah.
Pathetic.
Read the review. So
The idea is that
it's
you're
overnight,
supposed
it's
to,
fine.
Yeah, you're supposed to leave at your bedside
do
table.
not. Yeah, but here's the difference. They're updating, I believe, via the firmware of the phone. They'll be compatible with 7.5 watt wireless charging, which should be somewhat faster. Now, the ones that Apple's recommending, the Mophie and the Belkin chargers, those are 7.5 watt compatible. So they will be faster soon, later this year. It's not clear when.
He's starting at a very low bar, though.
It's starting at a low
Yeah.
bar. And that's exactly it. I think that is not the main way I'd charge the phone at all. Plus, you have to make sure it's lined up, because if it's not perfectly lined up, you may not
yeah.
even
Not
make
gonna work at
contact.
all.
Yeah.
If you're not used to it, that's true with phones.
The problem is with public places. Let's say I'm at Starbucks. I'm going to spend maybe 20 minutes there, like half an hour perhaps,
That's
if I'm
gonna
having
be
a meeting.
Yeah.
that's going to be
You're
a
not
problem.
really going to get like a very nice charge bump up from that. You might
Although
want
if
to
you're
just
down to 1%, I mean, you'll take what you can get, right?
sure,
It's
but
like treading water. You're just
what
kind
would-
of staying, keeping your head above.
Let's compare it, though, to
But, you know-
how phones themselves charged back in the day. I remember when I got my first iPhone.
Like a hand crank.
Yeah, it took
Donkey.
forever. Like the only time I got a solid charge was overnight. So do you think we're gonna kind of progress along that line?
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
expedited if any, with
Definitely.
any luck?
Well,
I mean, Qi itself has progressed faster. I feel like Apple's starting conservatively with their wireless
I'm
charging.
sure it'll keep improving, if not just in this model, then down the road. And the other thing to keep an eye on, and what Apple's really, I think, after with this, is that right now it's Qi charging, but Apple's already announced AirPower, and that's clearly, maybe it was even intended to come out now, but it's clearly part of the imminent plan for 2018, that they're making that charge all your devices matte.
Yeah.
Now, that's a different standard.
it is.
Yes, and it may, that they haven't talked much about it, but it may charge significantly faster. We don't know. But the interesting thing about AirPower and why it's not Qi is that some of Apple's devices that don't charge via Qi will charge via AirPower. Weird, but true. The Apple Watch Series 3
Right.
is not wireless Qi, but it will work with AirPower. So go figure.
So, I mean, didn't Apple say that they would try to work with Qi to get some of those standards into it so other makers would also
maybe.
incorporate those standards? Or
Yeah,
I
'cause,
think
like, it
I
took
think Apple
so
wants to
long.
control the new. Wants to have
Interesting.
the new standard.
I don't like
to
this
drive.
at all. It took so many years to
Or to
get us
open up
to,
a new
to
standard.
Qi. There used to be 3 separate standards. Roger,
really-
you wrote all about
Really,
this.
2 standards, and then a third one that has sort of emerged as sort of like the next gen standard for everyone.
Well, there is
But yeah,
one.
there's the other one was the power mat standard, which allows Starbucks who have wireless charging use that now. They're currently switching them over to Qi. Back to your original question, Michael. Though
Because they went-
I do
yeah,
say
yeah.
I will say the retailers, airports are. Thanks to Apple, they will probably start putting in Qi
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot more aggressively than in the past. I mean,
Starting with
IKEA's already done it.
Starbucks, yeah.
Starbucks, IKEA's, they already sell Qi stuff. Now they're probably going to double down on that.
McDonald's?
McDonald's.
You're going to
McDonald's,
see it a lot of places now, kind of like what happened with mobile payments. They're just going to help drive. It's a lot of phones.
That's what
They're
Apple
gonna help
does.
drive
It drives an ecosystem.
Yeah, it pushes it over the top to like.
Mobile payments is still not mainstream. I'll just throw that out there, but it
Hey,
definitely
I
got a
definitely
big
I
push
not
pay
in
with
the
forward.
my
US.
phone a lot. People pay with their phone a lot more
Yeah,
now.
totally
than
agree.
before
It is
Apple
harder
started.
to mess with economics like that, though. I mean, look at things like Bitcoin. That's always going to be a slower uptick than actual technological inclusion.
Right.
Yeah,
To
U-
more
US has had a
day-to-day.
hard
People
time.
are afraid of money.
UK was amazing using mobile payments. Oh, that's part of the chip and pin. It's a different, their system is already set up. Here, it's a very slow, weird implementation.
Yeah, we don't have chip and pin everywhere yet. So.
No, there's a whole weird. There's a lot of stories of that sound very strange about like why places are deactivating. Anyway, but the thing I like about AirPower is that you could charge multiple things on the same mat. That's the cool part.
Yeah, that's nice.
Potentially, that would be interesting because then you could have like would be like the Intel charging bowl from like years
I'm
ago.
so glad you mentioned that.
Well, let's
I was
not
getting
forget-
ready to talk about that.
All right.
Let's not forget the charge bowl.
I
All right,
love
we got to
the
move
Intel
on. We
charge
got more
bowl.
questions. We got plenty of
Okay.
questions.
Lots of questions. This is one that's actually come up several times over the past week. Hey, Scott. Freynell asks, how are the stereo speakers?
Oh,
yeah. We were asked this
Over and
before.
over
Yeah.
again. Yeah.
Very, very good question. Now, I'm not a big speaker.
Very, very good question.
One I'm going to play.
I will now ignore it. There we go.
I mean, it sounds pretty good for a phone.
It's a good thing we're filing
Yeah.
it through a mono microphone.
Yeah, do you like hearing
That's
it
really
on the
helpful.
mono mic? Yeah, is this like, you can't even play this music probably.
Wait, can
Stop it before we
stop-
get sued.
Yeah, stop playing it. now.
Anyway, yeah, we probably did too much. That was no music at all. I was just playing something on my phone. The point being,
That was not great.
that was your
Gonna
kid,
say.
right?
It's a terrible way to demonstrate that.
it's, yeah.
Do a vocal
I just
microphone
wanted
mono
to
onto
show
a
that I was
podcast.
playing music
onto a
on the
compressed
phone.
podcast.
Enjoy. So I'd say it definitely sounds better. When you're watching a movie now, I'd say the speaker experience is better than looking at it on the small screen. Like that actually makes up for it. Like you go, oh, that sounds really good. I wish my screen was a little bigger.
Do you
on the 8?
Do you actually watch your videos with? I usually have headphones on.
Yes, I wear
That's the thing.
headphones. That's-
I
yeah.
don't care about the speakers that much because I always have a headphone on.
I was dismissive of it. Then again,
Yeah.
my 8-year-old was like, "Ooh, can I hear?" And I played the music. He's like, "Yeah, it sounds nice and loud."
No, there are a lot of
And I was
people,
like,
though,
"Whatever."
in their day-to-day life, they look for something to take the place of a boombox, of a
Yep.
jam
Right,
box,
right, yeah.
of a ghetto blaster, et cetera, et cetera. We can
I-
go
like,
on and
at
on
this
and
point,
on.
like,
But
I
Walk
like,
down
kinda-
the street with the.
I value having like a quiet home, so like that's why I have these headphones on, just watching my videos silently.
yeah,
They also
These-
have really small, like portable Bluetooth speakers.
but
these
they don't
days.
fit in your pocket yet.
Bottom
Some of
line,
them kind of
bottom
do,
line
but
is,
a
not
second
absolutely.
thing. It's a second thing you have to carry around, right?
so bottom line is this: it definitely sounds a little better, and
It's definitely louder.
the audio used to sound bad on iPhones, and now it actually sounds pretty decent for watching movies or
Right.
or
It
music.
used to be very, very tinny.
yeah.
Being
It's
like that's-
it's totally fine for like just playing a song as you're like vacuuming.
Being the self-proclaimed audiophile in the room, the sound is cleaner.
Yeah.
I'll give that my own personal testimonial there.
It's cleaner, it's punchier. It's got like it's
There's still phone speakers, though, so don't get too excited.
yeah. Wear headphones. Don't be a monster.
All right,
Don't be.
More questions.
more questions.
PSA.
Jesse Gateman, Scott, is Siri any faster? On Series 2, she keeps saying, I'll tap you when I'm ready, and then lags when she gets into your phone to complete the task. Is the process any faster on the new watch?
Wow,
Yeah,
that
that-
sounds annoying.
Oh yeah.
That still happens.
Oh.
And I don't know why. I think a lot of times it's about network or other things. There's a lot of network, not handoffs, but there's a lot like between LTE and Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and
All the
yeah,
feels.
sometimes
That's
Siri,
a lot of wireless signals to get through.
yeah.
for
There's
sure.
a lot. There's a lot of times that Siri seems like it's waking up from a nap, and like we'll be ready with you sometime soon. I'm so used
Just
to
wait
that.
your time.
Maybe I'm too
just
used to
hold
that,
on.
but that's true across. I don't think there's a single wearable I've had that has not had that experience. But yeah, and then Siri's use cases. Siri's not that smart. Like, still to me, not that smart at contextually answering things that I need.
Accurate. I
Yeah.
will completely agree with that statement.
But it
All right.
can be useful.
Let's slam through a couple more. We're almost out of time.
Yep.
Timothy Cook. Wait, what?
Whoa.
What?
Oh, hey.
Hey,
hello.
What's up,
Tim?
Tim?
Mr.
Can
Cook?
I also get an iPhone to
thanks for
demo? Just I'm just saying.
Are we being spied on?
This might
fine.
actually be.
That's a weird incident.
I mean, Tim Cook's a known fan of the 359.
I
course
mean,
he is.
yeah.
Yeah, you know.
He
tweets at
gave
all
us
the
a
time.
shout out during the show.
Yeah,
the
if
other
you
Does
night.
Timothy Cook
Go
have a
back
question?
through that. Go back through the keynote. You'll notice the shout out.
You just said it really subliminally, just like.
For some weird reason, he overlooked Brian Tong, though.
Oh,
Dong Slam.
wow. I love it.
All right. Anyways, Timothy Cook.
Yeah.
Is there video on the watch?
No, but there have been ways to play little short videos before in certain apps.
I don't know if you want to watch video on your watch though. Like it's a tiny screen. What's the point?
Yeah, I mean you can do.
People said that when the phones came out.
That's true.
Look where we are now.
You're right.
Oh God! What if they just
God.
start making watches bigger until eventually you have the original
The
sized
phablet of a
iPhone on
watch.
your
The
wrist?
phablet watch.
The look of horror
Oh
on
my
Ben's
God.
face.
It just goes over your entire wrist, basically.
Do you think there'll be like editorials on the rise of circular video?
Ooh.
Why circular
We're
video
looking
is
at
going
you,
to take
Scott.
Scott, I
God.
literally threw up in my mouth.
Just get ready.
Already mad at vertical video.
We should create an editorial about circular
No, you know what I
video.
think though? There might be a
The
movement
pivot to
towards
circular.
when the iPhone 10 becomes popular, there'll be a movement towards notch videos, like intentionally cutting out the notch.
Or like everybody's
Entire
like
series of
pointing at
bunnies.
something in the notch and you can't see it.
We're
Yeah, it's
gonna
like an
have
Easter
so many things to tackle and talk about with the 10, including Notch.
Yeah,
Right.
Notchgate.
Including the fact that we should all
coming.
just be calling it X anyway.
So much face.
Yeah.
There's gonna be so much face with
All
the
right.
10 review.
Let's get one more in here.
Yeah.
Michael Brown, as always, is flooding us with fantastic commentary. But we only got time for one more. So, Scott, in your video, you talk a lot about the LTE capabilities of the watch. Do you feel like Apple is mainly focusing on fitness buffs, disconnecting from their phone, or everyone?
I think it's mainly fitness. I think this is definitely a play for fitness and for if you're running, if you're out somewhere. And I guess it's okay because a lot of Apple Watch and wearables are targeted at fitness. So, you know, it's just niche. It's niche to me. I used it not as much as that. I used it more of like an everyday thing. You know, the problem is use cases I think of when you want to like not have your phone. We get back to how do I know I won't have the app I need or the other thing I need? Usually on my phone I have something else that's essential that now I can't get on the watch. So it's not just good enough that I just have the watch on me. But yeah, I mean, that's the interesting question with it. But I think if you're a runner, sure. The question is that battery life good enough?
Yeah.
And
Go for
GPS,
a really short run.
right?
That's it.
That's
If you're
me.
using GPS
You got like
a
a
lot,
30-minute limit.
we haven't even gotten into streaming music. That's a whole
Oh
other
yeah,
thing.
that's. I really wonder how that's gonna work. Like, how long is that watch gonna last?
Yeah,
Streaming music,
by the time you get down the block,
if that.
you know,
You need a battery belt.
battery.
Man, I bet the speakers on the watch would be just killer.
Oh my god.
You can't do
Audible sound, we found
Wait,
out.
the battery belt wouldn't even work. You'd have to wirelessly charge
music
the watch.
playback. You have to wear wireless.
Yep.
AirPods do work well because they're auto switching and they're better for, I think, for making quick calls. But then that's the problem is you get into this thing where AirPods feel very well designed for Apple Watch, and that's another $160.
Yep.
And you want to wear those. But but between the call and the music and the seamlessness, I don't know. I might want to for calls. I don't know. Or you just put in whatever headphones. You need to have wireless headphones that have good mics.
It definitely presents the wireless future that if you want to experience that, you can today for more than $500. Some people are really going to love that kind of thing, but I don't think it's for everybody.
No,
It's
super
funny why
luxury.
you guys.
And the watch is already a luxury.
It's funny when you guys
device.
say that. I'm looking at my watch now. I got the battery very low warning message on my Gear S3. So I think I left it without my iPhone for like 15 minutes. So
We just got applause from somewhere off in the distance.
I have no idea what Giant Bomb
Our
is.
friends at Giant Bomb just are having a blast over there.
I don't know what they're playing today,
They
unfortunately.
always have way more fun than we do.
That's true. Hey, before we go, shout out to Adam M. and the Datch, who are saying the rise of Square Video and the return of 4x3. I'm about to put you in timeout for that.
Yeah. All right, we got to wrap things up there.
That's it for the week.
That is it for the week. But
Except-
we do have our special pre-recorded video or show episode.
Are you going to say who the special guest is?
No.
Wait until tomorrow.
You gotta go
Yeah,
watch.
surprise.
You gotta watch.
It'll
gotta watch.
it'll post tomorrow at around 11:30 a.m. Eastern time.
Yep.
Audio podcast and video podcast in the regular places, just not live.
Right. And yeah, it'll be very enjoyable. We have 2 special guests on the show.
That's right.
Surprise.
Oh,
surprise.
really? In the special
Very,
surprise
very
episode.
Very
special.
special.
Lots of specialness. All right. Anyways, that's it for the week for us. Thank you for listening. If you liked anything you saw or heard here, check us out on CNET. Our podcast is available on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, SoundCloud, FeedBurner, and Google Play Music.
And
see
I'll
that.
be playing with AR stuff all the time on my Twitter feed, Jet Scott. So check it out.
At Jet Scott.
At Judd Scott.
Keep an eye out for the Book Club podcast. We're coming back.
Yes.
Nice.
Episode 2.
Sweet plugs.
Nice.
Pluggity plug.
Way to get it all in there.
Plugging it.
Wait, let's
I'll
plug.
be off next
Ackerman
week,
talked all
completely
about it,
off,
so I gotta mention it.
but Ben and Alfred will be back.
So you're all welcome to just ignore
Bye,
the
all.
podcast. Bye.
Thanks, everybody, for putting up with us. Bye.